Chimera.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I must commend Senator Dhangwa for a well thought out motion, Madam Speaker. As a nation, it is time we make the hard decisions, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, let me first begin by saying I rise in support of this motion, and I want to urge members of this Honorable House, Madam Speaker, to strongly support this motion. This is an idea whose time has really come before us. And Madam Speaker, most of my colleagues, or our colleagues rather, would actually come out and say we are trying to fight them politically, especially those who are in charge or those who have a fund that can be able to propagate bursaries, Madam Speaker. We have seen from experience, and I know some of the members of this Senate have sat in the lower house as National Assembly members, Madam Speaker, and they had a chance to interact, to run, to program, and to channel funds known as the bursary funds. Today, a women rep has funds under national government affirmative action fund, to which I'm a proud founder, pioneer, fund manager. Today, our colleagues are running the CDF fund. Today, our colleagues who are governors have various scholarships in their own ways and rights, Madam Speaker, in different counties that are basically running a very robust and vibrant scholarship program and bursary program. And we are not fighting these people, Madam Speaker. We are not saying it is wrong for the county government of Kwale, for instance, to issue bursaries, Madam Speaker. But the question that we are asking ourselves is, how sustainable is this program, Madam Speaker? I come from a little-known constituency known as Lunga Lunga in Kwale County. I want to appreciate that I've been a beneficiary of the bursary program, Madam Speaker. But I was among the few privileged ones who could get access to an area MP, who had a parent who directly spoke to the MP then, Madam Speaker. And for that matter, Madam Speaker, I was able to qualify for many bursary programs in Kwale County to enable me pursue my education. And today, I am here speaking as the Senator of this great nation, Madam Speaker. But how many people out there, Madam Speaker, have no access to not even the MP, not even the MCA, but even the village elder, Madam Speaker? We are saying it is time to rethink on the architecture of the bursary fund, Madam Speaker. It is time to delink the bursary program from politicians. Let politicians do their politics the way they want to do it, but allow the Ministry of Education through the states to ensure that every young Kenyan has the right to access basic education. And I'm not saying these things, Madam Speaker, from the blues, Madam Speaker. This very constitution, Madam Speaker, a very fundamental document that we all subscribe to, Madam Speaker, provides under Article 43 that every person has the right to education as a social and economic right, Madam Speaker. It also goes ahead and says in Article 53 that every child has the right to free and compulsory basic education, Madam Speaker. This motion today by Senator Dhangwa speaks towards making sure every Kenyan, irrespective of his race, irrespective of his political ideology, irrespective of his gender, color, religion, has access to free universal education, Madam Speaker. It is shocking, Madam Speaker, that a whole CS can come before this house and fails to tell this nation how much is spent as bursary, Madam Speaker. Then how much do we lose in form of corruption? How much do we lose in form of tokenism, Madam Speaker? It is time that those who are in charge of running this bursary, Madam Speaker, are put into account. We need to be told how much is capitation per land. If you look at the MPs, just quick math, Madam Speaker, would give you about 40 to 50 million under CDF as bursaries. Any county in this country has about $500 million earmarked for bursaries and scholarship programs. If you do that by 47 counties, if you do the figure of 50 million by 290 constituents, Madam Speaker, plus the presidential bursary scheme, Madam Speaker, that gives you roughly around 100 billion Kenya shillings, Madam Speaker, that is meant towards making sure our students access bursaries. Madam Speaker, I also want to thank Senator Langwa for raising this, and I want to really commend him for this, because we need to dignify our people. This bursary program, Madam Speaker, has been used for far too long as a way of politicizing how we want to roll out issues in our grassroots, Madam Speaker. Today, if you don't vote in a certain member of parliament, he will say, I never got votes from Lokicha, and as such, I am not able. And it happens, Madam Speaker, by design, by default, by way of circumventing how these bursary committees actually do their work. And Madam Speaker, it is on record. The other day we had that officials from West Pokot County were arrested and arraigned in court because of misusing bursaries, diverting funds that were meant for bursaries for very needy students from Kacheliba, from Chapareria, in West Pokot County, and it ended up in their pockets, Madam Speaker. How safe is this money, Madam Speaker, when it is left at the hands of politicians, Madam Speaker? And Madam Speaker, I am not afraid of any political opponent. I am not trying to soften my politics, Madam Speaker. I am not saying that I suffer from undue advantage when a member of parliament has CDF and a senator doesn't have CDF. But Madam Speaker, it is time to really talk about how best do we fix this bursary question, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I will, as I conclude, I want to tell this Honorable Senate that at times you must do what is rightful, even if you're alone, Madam Speaker. I know under this motion, Madam Speaker, we shall be fought. People will be up against us. Governors will make noise. They will say we want to kill devolution. Members of Parliament would give you beautiful stories, successful stories of how the bursary program has transformed many, many young lives, Madam Speaker. They will be up in arms against this particular motion, Madam Speaker. They might even go ahead, as they're doing now, trying to disband this House, Madam Speaker, for obvious reasons, Madam Speaker. But we want to tell them, on the question as to consolidating bursaries, Madam Speaker, we must do it. If we are to attain free universal education, Madam Speaker, the port of call starts from consolidating all these monies that is going to bursaries and making it into under one scheme, push the funds to the schools, and allow every young Kenyan child to access education without having to beg an MP, having to beg a governor for this bursary. Madam Speaker, as I conclude, I saw a photo of a very old lady who passes to be my grandmother, somewhere in a political rally, kneeling before a sitting member of parliament. And this photo really trended across social media networks, Madam Speaker, just to show how Kenyans are forced to worship, are forced to bend over politicians just to get 5,000 shillings, Madam Speaker. And Madam Speaker, you will find a student who has a free balance of 60,000 shillings, and an MP gives him a check of 7,000 shillings. 7,000 shillings, Madam Speaker. Yet his free balance is 60,000 shillings, Madam Speaker. Please tell me, Madam Speaker, just basic mathematics. Even my 2-year-old son, wherever he is, can tell you, you cannot afford to go to school when you have a fee balance of over 50,000 shillings, Madam Speaker. And this politician will come with the media, will come with everyone, will parade these people, and this person comes from far, maybe many, many kilometers. They have to trek to come and just pick a check that does not guarantee them admission into school, Madam Speaker. For how long shall we continue to jeopardize and threaten the lives of the young generation, Madam Speaker, in the name of doing politics with this bursary, Madam Speaker? Madam Speaker, with those many, many remarks, I beg to second, and I wish to urge this Honorable House to really support this motion, towards making sure that in the fullness of time, this conversation will be a reality, and that those young men from Tumwa, that young man from Vanga, from Lamu, from Lodwa, who is a student currently, who really has to depend on the mercy of a sitting politician, be it an MCA, be it a member of parliament at the National Assembly, be it a governor, be it the presidential scheme as premised and run from the Ministry of Labor, does not have to go through this lack of dignity for him to access education opportunities, Madam Speaker. We want to see many, many, many Kenyans serving this nation as doctors, many, many Kenyans serving this nation as engineers, many, many Kenyans serving this nation and participating in, promoting jurisprudence and making sure the law of this country is much more progressive by working as lawyers, Madam Speaker, as architects, as hustlers in this country, but they have free access to education, Madam Speaker. For those many remarks, Madam Speaker, I second and I beg to second, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Madam Speaker.